Alright, so I wanted to come back on here and talk a little bit more about, I don't know, like, not only just spirituality and magic, but just like general psychology and um, people's perspective on things. And I don't know, I'm just going to come kind of ramble, okay? So I know that in my previous video, I went on a little bit too long about like being a Jehovah Witness when I was younger and how that influenced me and kind of got me started into the craft. But there are a lot of also, blah, 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 sorry, I can't talk right now. There are a lot of other things that pertain to my career and my path in witchcraft and metaphysics. And so I think what I'm going to do is just let my thoughts ramble. And if it makes sense to you, then it makes sense to you. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm sorry. But there is one thing that I want to share with you. And that is like the topic of love spells. And that's not something you really hear too much in this whole like new age astrological jump on the bandwagon kind of alignment this and soul contract that. Like, you know, this is what I really want to talk about is like I feel that there are a lot of people out there who like to get on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and kind of portray themselves as some kind of spiritual guru, because they feel it's some kind of calling. And really, I'm not stupid. I can see past a lot of it. A lot of you are just trying to make some money, and there's nothing wrong with making money. My sister told me one time when I was a lot younger, I must have been like maybe 19, 20 years old, and she always told me, well, psychics need to eat too, you know? But a lot of you are not psychic. Okay, a lot of you have a good book knowledge on astrology and make that your whole basis on life based upon what you have studied in books and charts and everything else. When it comes to the world of metaphysics and the occult, astrology is not the end all be all of anything. You know what I mean? In fact, if we go back to like the ancient Middle East, astrology's utilization was primarily for magic. Okay? Um Particularly ceremonial ritual magic. And today it's turned into more of way of analyzing someone's life through their personalities and through their characteristics, when astrology is so much more than that. But there are other things other than astrology that can help you connect to your soul a lot better. And when I say soul, I really mean, let me backtrack a little bit. You do not need astrology to understand your soul, okay? Or to figure out why you do things a certain way because the sun is in alignment with this planet and blah, 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 blah. There are other ways of understanding yourself through spirituality. I think it's really important to emphasize that when it comes to astrology, when it comes to metaphysics, and when it comes to magic, these are all systems and ways to understand the world around you and how it correlates to the cosmos within you. Okay, if that makes any sense. But a lot of people want to come on here and just kind of make some money. That's basically what it is. They're trying to make some money based upon some fucking la-di-da bullshit, fucking Harry Potter, love and light, unicorn, astrology, alignment, this, and that is just fucking stupid. Okay? What is that saying? What is it? The Namaste, the divine in me recognizes the divine in you. I find that to be extremely annoying. Okay, like, there are things that you need to just accept about life, man. Sometimes bad things happen for no fucking reason. You know, and then you have all these fucking new age gurus and enthusiasts. You're like, well, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens in order for your greatest good, to teach you a lesson. Yeah, and for the most part, that can be absolutely true. But for the most part as well, sometimes people just have bad luck. You know, it has nothing to do with fucking karma or... And this is another thing about karma. A lot of people want to latch on to the concept of karma because they want to feel justified by whatever wrong they have gone through, you know, and I get it, you know, but I'm going to tell you something, that a lot of these light workers and spiritual gurus and advisors, I'm going to tell you something. What the fuck was I going to tell you? I lost my train of thought. Ah, man, I'll come back to it. I'm trying to think of what I was going to say, man. I'm a little bit out of it tonight, so bear with me. But a lot of stuff that they won't tell you is because they don't want to acknowledge any kind of dark side of life. And there is a lot of dark side in life, man. There is murders, there is betrayals, there are all these things, and people will be like, well, you know what, you are obviously experiencing that because you made a soul contract with your higher self when this happens, and blah 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 blah. And the reality is that sometimes you're dumb and you put yourself in stupid situations. And there is an upside to that, okay? An upside to having experienced these dumb situations, okay? And sometimes people have to learn the hard way. I myself am one of those people that has to learn the hard way. I see so many people try to make money off of what they believe or what they tell people is enlightenment or spirituality. And I can tell right off the bat, like, these people don't know really what the fuck they're talking about. And they know that you don't know what the fuck they're talking about because you don't have any kind of proper training or exposure to a lot of correct information when it comes to metaphysics. Okay, so there's this one girl on my fucking feed, and I won't say her name, and if you know that I know I'm talking about you, I don't apologize. Okay, I'm not trying to be disrespectful or anything, but and she was going off on how, like, with her massive amounts of followers, right, of how she discovered the 23rd dimension. And I'm like, what? Like, 23rd dimension? And she's like, yeah, I was folding clothes one day and, like, my guides just came to me and they were like, they were downloading all this information into my consciousness about the 23rd dimension. And I'm like, bitch, You don't even know anything about the fucking fourth or fifth dimension, let alone you're gonna go all the way to the 23rd dimension. No, I don't think so. If you ever feel like you want to reach the 23rd dimension or some kind of like I'll at least reach there for a little bit, why don't you try DMT? I have personally never tried DMT, but my sister, who has 10 years on me in the craft, I started practicing in 1999, and she started practicing, I believe, in 1991, 92. And let me tell you, my sister is not a stranger to hallucinogenics. What did that say? How does the universe balance itself if bad things just happen for no reason? Let me get into that, actually. I study and practice a tradition called Lukumi, which would also be known as Santeria or Orisha tradition. And they have these legends, which they call the Batakis. And they're like these little stories that kind of give an explanation to why things happen the way they happen, right? So in Santeria or Lukumi or Orisha tradition, there's this one Orishan which it would kind of sort of be like their gods. And Oya was the keeper of the cemetery. She was like the landlord of the cemetery. Not necessarily the goddess of death, but she kept them kind of like all in check, right? All together. She was also the goddess of marketplaces and exchange. Well, and I'm totally going to butcher this story up, but I'm just going to kind of get to the point of what I'm trying to talk about when it comes to balance, okay? If things happen for no reason. I guess they do happen for a reason, and let me tell you why. So Oya lived in a period of time where there was no death, okay? And this tradition comes from the Nigeria, from Yoruba. And so Oya had many followers and many children and mothers and all of these people who would constantly bring her gifts and offerings and really just to show their appreciation. And the more and more you give these entities energies like offerings, the more and more they become alive. Well, this one particular time, she started to realize that all of her children kept fucking. Like, all it did was fuck. And continuously had children, right? Well, because there was no death, these people kept procreating and having more children. And when it came to give Oya her offerings, they didn't have anything to give because they had to take care of their babies who were constantly hungry. Now, Oya, being the generous and loving mother that she is, kind of was like, well, you know what? Like, I need my babies to eat. That's more important than you giving me the offerings and whatnot. You know what I mean? So she went to, I believe, Obatala, who was like a higher up in this pantheon of gods. And they talked it out, and she was telling him about the situation that was going on with her children. And how she wasn't receiving her offerings. And she needed her offerings. That energy is what she needed to sustain her life, right? And so, basically, Obatala told her, well, you need to go and you need to bring the spirit of death to the world. And she was like, these are my babies. I can't do that to them. Like, I just can't. You know what I mean? That it would be too heartbreaking. It would be too devastating for her to do that. So she was like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna let it go. I'm just gonna like, don't bring me offerings, kind of like take care of your babies. The thing is, they kept having more babies. And these babies kept suffering due to hunger. Okay? And all night you would hear these cries of pain and agony and hunger pains. And this in itself devastated Oya. She didn't know what to do. She did not like seeing her children in agony and pain due to them not having enough to eat, right? So she went back to Obatala, and Obatala was like, well, you know what? I told you what you needed to do, bitch. You got to bring the spirit of death. And then only then will you free these people of their suffering. So, with all of her might and all of her love, she brought the spirit of death. And one by one, people kept dying. A lot of people kept dying. Well, what ended up happening was, even though these people were dying, a lot of new babies were being born, and there was like this cycle of life, right? And these babies grew up and were able to produce more crop, and therefore Oya was able to get her offerings. But these are like little stories kind of like that to let you know the importance for negative things to happen in one's life. If you did not understand pain and suffering, if you did not go through it, how would you understand what happiness and bliss was? I get the idea. It's very noble. People want to live in a society where everybody gets along and there's just peace and all of that. But I don't think that would necessarily work out too well. We need suffering in this world. And the reason why we need suffering in this world is because we need to understand what true happiness is. So how does the universe balance itself out? You know what? You are the universe. You need to figure that out on your own. We live within some kind of universe, but that is the outer cosmos. But the universe exists within ourselves, okay? As above, so below. For in the cosmos, and so in the soul. But back to these fucking new age, fucking enthusiast bullshitters. Understand that most of these people who are out here giving tarot card readings, and usually not even with real tarot cards, they're more of like oracle cards, and they're just kind of basically telling you affirmations, and some of them had some business coaching, and they know how to talk to you in order to make you feel like you can progress in your life so they can get that money, okay? So be very careful and be very aware when someone comes to you or you approach someone who claims to be some kind of psychic or reader, and they constantly use the word soul contract or alignment or being aligned with your soul contract or high vibrational, because a lot of times they really don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They heard something that they saw in a video or a post, and now they want to feel like they're some kind of spiritual ninja. And when it comes down to it, spirituality can be extremely fucking dark. Okay? I'm not saying it's bad and you're just going to have a bunch of bad luck your entire life. But what I'm saying is, like, there are things you're going to have to face as an individual, as a person, when it comes to your own bullshit. Okay? not everybody is happy-go-lucky. Not everybody fucking lies, okay? Everybody has a capacity, the capability to lie. Everybody has the ability to cause harm and havoc. Everybody has the ability to betray someone. And at some point it happens. You can't ignore all that. You know what I mean? And sometimes people just are potty mouths. And they use the word fuck and shit and blah, 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 blah. But I'm not going to sit here with a fucking namaste fucking t-shirt and some fucking hippie psychodrama fucking, I don't even know what the fuck. Like, if you're gonna get a reading for me, then you're gonna fucking get a reading for me. I'm not gonna candy coat things for you. I'm gonna tell you exactly how the fuck it is. Now, when I do that, I'm not just gonna leave you hanging and dry, okay? I have been doing this long enough to when I do give a reading, I can pretty much prescribe something for you to do to fix the situation that you're in. I'm not going to sit here and pull out cards randomly and be like, oh my God, like you are about to go through this dramatic change and you are obviously, you know, in alignment with your soul contract and all that shit doesn't really mean anything. It's not really giving a reading. It's making somebody feel good about themselves with your little fucking information, affirmations. So, fuck you. Stop pretending that you can read cards because you can't. And I don't care what anybody says. Well, I'm just going based upon like what I feel and what I see in the pictures, because like that's how, you know, let me tell you one thing. Not everybody's meant to read cards. It could be fucking dangerous. And I'm not trying to scare you away from doing it, but like tarot cards, runes, and any kind of form of divination is really a tool for you to open up your third sense, or your third eye, your sixth sense. When that eye is open, sometimes you're going to see some shit that you are not ready to see. Sometimes you're going to see some things that are alarming, and you're going to have to learn to cope with it and deal with it. Otherwise, you're going to feel like you're going crazy. If you haven't started to feel like you're going crazy yet, then you're not doing something wrong and you should stop. Anyways, who wants to fuck me? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I guess that's kind of like it. I don't know why I came on here. I just wanted to ramble and talk, but I hope you got something out of this. But even if you didn't, that's okay too. I still gotta figure out how to like sign off on this thing. So I think it's this X. But anyways, thank you guys.